Well, hello everybody. I'm Laura Kafka Price, and I really appreciate you coming today to learn about some great Polish songs and arias. Actually, no arias today, just all songs, but I appreciate your interest and just excited to be here with you. So, when I was in college, very early years, when I was still in high school, I started to take some music classes in my local community college. And there I met a wonderful composer who was also a voice teacher and a choral conductor in my hometown in Monterey, California. And he, after all these years, he's now retired and almost 80, he composed a beautiful art song for me, which is on the title here page, Szklana Góra, which means Glass Mountain. And I premiered it last year in May in Washington, D.C. And it's based on a Polish poem by Lidia Kosk, who is a living poet in Poland, and it was great. We live streamed her into the presentation at the Arts Club. So I'd like to play this song for you. I have a recording of it. I've recorded it, and I have a whole teaching package that goes with it. So what I'd like to do is spend most of my time on this song today, and I'd like to play some of Karl Szymanowski's songs for you, some short ones that you can, they're quite different from this piece, that would be appropriate for students, or you might like them yourself. I chose slow things because I think, you know, when you're learning a new language or interested in learning one, it's always good to do something slow. And then I have some other lovely repertoire to inspire you, maybe a Chopin song, one by Karłowicz, to give you some variety, all slow things, so please don't fall asleep on me. For anyone live streaming, thank you for joining us, really appreciate it. So, Szklana Góra. So you have the music here in Polish, and if you go past the score, we can look what it means for a moment. I have in the handout, you have a word-for-word translation with the IPA, lots of comments, footnotes, and things about it, some information you can read on your own later about the song and so on. But basically, let me just tell you about the song, and that is that Szklana Góra, Glass Mountain, is about your struggle with yourself, with everyone's struggle with themselves to conquer their mountain. And in this particular song, there's a young lady who, she's probably, you know, a teenager, young teenager, and it's winter, and she's tasked with going to get water for her parents, or for her household. And she probably has nothing more than a hill to go over, but it's cold and it's icy. She's young, and she is going up this hill. To her, it's a big mountain. That's her mountain to conquer, and she falls. And so this is about getting up, which she does, and going on and conquering your own mountain. And for her, it was getting up this hill and going to get that water, okay? So that's what the song is about. Sal Ferrantelli is the composer, my former professor from Monterey Peninsula College, now retired. So it was a real pleasure to sing this. Okay, so hopefully this will all work. Okay, so here's Szklana Góra. The pianist is the premier Alvin Smithson, and the Polish American Arts Association in Washington, D.C. sponsored this premiere last May 2019. And this is me singing. So when Sal composed this piece, he wrote this original long high C that you have in the score with the IPA. And I said, Sal, can you give me a break, please? How about if I'm not feeling like I want to hold it for that long? So I sang the second one in the recording, which is the next page. So that's the alternate ending. But if high C's are your thing to hold for a long time, I say go for it. But I love it because, you know, the way he started this piece very low, the young lady climbing up her mountain, and then she falls. She falls, and he has a lot of word painting, and as you come to know the piece better, you find that he did an excellent job in putting in the beautiful marriage of the text and also the music. So it's a very fun piece to sing. Love the bravura ending, and sort of brings audiences to their feet, because they can't help but sing when you go up to the high C and have a great time. So Scott Metcalf was the recording engineer for this. We recorded it at Peabody, where I teach. And so you might be wondering, thinking, I don't know, Polish. Well, I hope that you won't be too intimidated. I also teach French. And I didn't learn French till I was in my 20s, and I ended up double majoring as a voice major and as a French major. So I would say it's never too late to learn a language, and I hope that I could be an inspiration to you, at least from the French side. And actually, I think Polish is easier than French. It looks intimidating because of all of the consonants, and you know, you have consonant clusters, and it just looks, it's like, what do I do with all of that? But it's much easier than French, because Polish is a phonetic language, and unlike Russian, it's based, you know, with the Latin alphabet, although there are a few extra letters. So all in all, Polish has, you know, 9 vowels, and they're all pure. There are 2 nasals, which are not too bad, and you don't have to use one of them all the time. And there are a few extra additions. So you might think, well, why sing in Polish? Okay, so if I'm going to inspire you to sing in Polish, here's why, what I was thinking. 1, the vowels are pure, okay, like I said. So that's always a plus. You've got good A, E, I, O, U. You have an I, kind of mid-vowel, kind of sound. And then you have this on, which is it's not like the French on, although you will hear people say that it is, but it is closer to Portuguese than it is to French. But you just need a little bit, never use too much nasal when you're singing in Polish. And then it has this "n." And the "n" is not always used. It should not be used at the end of vowels, at the end of words, unless there's a very good reason for it, like, you know, to make something more, to make it more plural, or if there's another grammatical reason for it. Otherwise, you just sing an openette. So that makes things very easy. Okay, and then I thought, what else? Okay, it's phonetic, and audiences like hearing something new. And plus, the repertoire, this is a brand new piece, but the old standard repertoire from the 19th century by Chopin, you know, Chopin has 19 songs that he composed, and a new one that was recently found. It doesn't have accompaniment, or just a skeletal accompaniment. And there are wonderful songs by Karłowicz and Moniuszko, who was Poland's great opera composer in the 19th century. So there's wonderful, wonderful repertoire out there. You just need someone to help you. And I'm happy to help. I'm not looking to make a bunch of money. I'm looking to get people to sing Polish repertoire. So if you find something you like today, let me know. I will help you. I will send you audio files and make it just a pleasure to learn. So I'm not going to lie, it's not easy to learn at first, and you do have to kind of know what goes together. But once you get that, I think you'll be fine. So how about if we take a moment to look at not this word-for-word translation, but the one that's the teaching one. So if you go over about 3 pages, if you go over to the Polish pronunciation guide for Szklana Góra, I was trying to put myself in someone's shoes who wouldn't know Polish. And you might say, well, how do you know Polish? Well, I know Polish because you can hear I'm American. I was born in the United States. I was born in California, and I'm the first person in my family who was born in the United States. My parents were both Polish. I have an older brother who was born, my parents were both incarcerated during World War II. Unfortunately, my dad was a reserve officer in the Polish army, and he was a prisoner of war, and my mother, unfortunately, was a forced laborer during World War II. They both survived that, were married. My brother was born in Germany before they immigrated to the United States. So my dad's job in the United States was teaching Polish. So I got to be homeschooled with Polish. I went to regular American school, but I spoke Polish before English, and my parents, unfortunately, are deceased now, but that was always the language that I spoke with them. And so it's just a joy. This is a very personal project for me. I have a master's in voice, and I have a doctorate in musicology, and I wrote my doctoral dissertation on a Polish composer, Karl Szymanowski. Some of you may know that composer. I'm going to play some of his songs for you today. And I also participated in the opera workshop at University of Maryland at College Park, where I got my doctorate. So I sing today, I give recitals, I concertize, but I've been working on this project for a long time, because even though I grew up with this language, the last few years I really spent time trying to understand how best to explain singing in this language to someone else. So I would ask for your help to see if this, what I'm going to give you to learn the pronunciation of Szklana Góra, is enough, or do I need more? Okay, so here's my plan. Let's listen to this Polish pronunciation guide. As I said, even though I grew up speaking Polish, I'm still not a native. So I asked one of our students at Peabody, he's actually a violist, he's a master's degree in viola, second-year master's student in violist, Max Krzak. But he studied singing in Poland. And so he studied and shared a great deal of information with me. So I asked him if he would please record this pronunciation guide, because I feel that the closer you can get to the purest sound you should make, the better. And so even though I could do it, I said, let's just get a native to do it. But it can't just be a native. It has to be a native who really understands the rules of lyric diction. I found out, this is just our little secret, you two out there who's listening when we're streaming here, just because you speak Polish doesn't mean you can pronounce it all correctly. And I guess that's true with any language. But in Polish, if you're speaking it correctly, that is also the way you should be singing it. So that's a big plus, but you have to know what you're doing. So I thought, how would someone feel? They would need at least a recording. One of the things I discovered, that looking at it on paper, even though you have the IPA, it's just not enough. So I tried to put myself, as I said, in your shoes. What would it take? So let's see if this is helpful. Let's take a look at this. So I have this Polish pronunciation guide recording. So if you would indulge me listening to it, it's about 12 minutes long or so. So let's listen to it.
Polish pronunciation guide for Szklana Góra for solo soprano and piano. Poem by Lydia Kosk. Music by Sal Ferrantelli.
So you're going to hear me on doing the English part on here, and then you're going to hear Max, who is speaking the Polish.
Polish vowels.
I, Y, E, A, O, U.
Polish nasal vowels.
E, O.
Has two pronunciations in Szklana Góra.
Górę, górę. Powiększa, powiększa.
Has two pronunciations in Szklana Góra.
Górą, górą. Potykające się, potykające się.
Polish vowel and consonant sounds to practice in preparation for listening to the intoning of the song.
And feel free to repeat the words. I think that would be good. When you hear Max say them, you could say it along with him.
Policzkach,
Policzkach.
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 Sz. Powiększa,
Powiększa.
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 Szklana,
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 szklista,
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 przede mną,
przede mną,
przede mną,
przede mną,
przerastający,
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 ż, mierzyć się,
mierzyć się,
mierzyć się,
mierzyć się,
cieniem,
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 zlodowaciałe,
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 odpowiedzialność,
odpowiedzialność. That was good, that's a long one. How it
Break
goes.
that down.
Odpowiedzialność. Odpowiedzialność. Very good. And you're just adapting, you're just listening to him and flowing with it. This is great. I'm just throwing this at you. Okay, all right, let's keep going.
odpowiedzialność,
Odpowiedzialność.
dzi,
Dzi-
bardziej,
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 bardziej.
dźwigając,
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 dźwigając.
się,
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 się.
siły,
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 siły.
śniegu,
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 śniegu. Let me stop for just a moment. So you have this is one of the special characters in Polish where you have that C with the squiggle underneath it there. So if you think of this, the more familiar one in German or Italian or French would be the long, the sh sound. So they're not exactly the same, okay? So the sh sound, if you think of it, the she, the vowel that follows the sh kind of fixes it for you. It's just automatically bright. She. And that's, yes, that C with the little squiggle where we just stopped, where you have like she. If you can hear that the vowel following it is an I, she. It's not an I mean, it's a bright vowel. So sh, like shiwy, shiwy, where you have shiwy or shiwy or śniegu. So here you have shiwy. So the I following the S takes care of the brightness that you need in that sh sound. Okay, so shiwy, śniegu. Okay, so far so good?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's keep going.
ni,
Ni. That's just your enya.
cieniem,
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 mnie,
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 słońca,
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 on,
on,
dźwigając,
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 dźwigając. So you notice that here, we're not saying the nasal in it is almost non-existent. It kind of decomposes into, because of the rules of pronunciation, you notice the IPA doesn't have a nasal. It's an open O. Almost every single O in Polish is open. In fact, I can't even really think of one that isn't. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but they're all open, basically. So, dźwigając, you have a hint of a nasal because it's almost impossible not to have one, but it's an open O followed by an N, and it kind of decomposes that nasal into the N, if you hear that. Okay.
szklaną,
Szklaną.
szklaną,
Szklaną. And at the end of a word, when you have, as in this case, szklaną, when you have the A with the ogonek, it's called the little tail on it like that, then you do have to nasalize it. So you have the open O with the nasal sound over it, or the IPA.
z moją,
Z moją,
z moją,
moją,
ze mną,
ze mną,
ze mną,
ze mną. Very good.
L, górę,
So here you might say, well, why, okay, I have a nasal at the end of this word, I've got this E with this ogonek, which is the tail, so how come I'm not saying the nasal there, and the IPA says an open E? The reason is because that is, of the last few years, this is the trend in classical singing in Poland. They don't want to nasalize the ending E with the tail. The trend is to sing a pure open E. And if you listen to old recordings, 30 years ago, 40 years ago recordings, and you listen to Poland's great opera singers, then you will hear this, the nasal E at the end. But it's out of fashion now, so they have changed that, I guess, to make the vowel more pure. So as I said, this is the one that you would always sing an open E if you have an E with the diacritical mark of the elm, the ogonek it's called, or tail. You would only sing it as a nasal if there was a grammatical reason for it. Sometimes you have to do that to indicate a plural when it should be plural instead of singular. But unless it's an exception like that, then you always sing an open E, which makes things nice and easy.
górę,
Oh, where are we?
idę,
Oh yeah, okay. Idę.
idę,
Idę.
powiększa,
Powiększa.
powiększa,
Powiększa.
o,
O.
moje,
Moje. Moje.
moment,
Moment.
moment,
Moment.
nogi,
Nogi.
nogi,
Nogi.
potykające się,
Potykające się.
potykające się,
Potykające się. So I think my footnote there just refers to when you have a potykające się. Się doesn't really mean anything. It's just a reflexive verb. So potykające się is, the się indicates that it's the reflexive form of the word.
wiadro,
Wiadro.
wiadro,
Wiadro.
woda,
Woda.
woda,
Woda.
wspomaga,
Wspomaga.
wspomaga,
Wspomaga. So of course I put in the stress marks there. So you have wspomaga, right? So the stress is in Polish is in the second to the last syllable usually. I think, in my opinion, this is the hardest sound to make in Polish. It's just we don't have it in English. If you're an English native speaker and you don't really have it in, it's not the same sound you have in French or Italian. This is a mid-vowel, and if you are trying to make this sound and it's coming out like our word it or big or, which is probably what it's going to sound like, it's not quite right. So you have to move it back a little bit mid-vowel. And if you say like vod, vod, you can say that with me with a voice to D at the end, vod, vod. And then if you just let the it come out, vody, vody. And if you keep your jaw nice and relaxed, vody, vody. That's very good. That sounds good, Mark. Everybody's like Mark, right? All right, you're gonna be better than me in Polish soon.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, here we go. Let's keep going.
I'm not gonna try it.
błysk,
Whisk,
Whisk.
błysk,
Whisk.
whisk.
gdy,
Gdy. Okay, so when I first started learning Polish IPA, I'm like, what is that? It's like the I with the little slash through it. Okay, oh, no. I said, this is awful. We can use the regular squatty little I or something. And then the more I worked with it, I realized we need that little I with the slash. We need the lowercase I with the slash, because the slash reminds you that it's a mid-placed vowel. And so I'm sorry, that's one of the ones you have to learn. But it's not horrible. But if you can just remember that that's what it's there for. It's to help you remember that it's a special Polish sound. Very hard to get for Americans. Okay.
Gdy.
Good. Very good.
Łzy.
Got it going on there. Łzy.
Łzy.
Okay, now this one, the reason I have a footnote is because if you look at this, and you know in IPA, every single symbol has a sound that it represents. So if I looked at this, I would want to say, it looks like a one-syllable word. Łzy. I would put the stress on the first one if I łzy, but that's not the word, it's łzy. Łzy. So it is a one-syllable word in Polish, but, so I was very tempted to put a stress mark before the Z, but it's łzy. It means tears, right? Łzy. Łzy. And Sal did a great job putting the stress in the song for it, so it's it comes out naturally.
Siły.
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 Spływa.
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 Wody.
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 Wody. Very good.
U. Góra.
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 Góra. So Polish has these two U's, u sounds, and they sound exactly the same, right? They're just for spelling purposes, orthography. So you have the O that's closed with the slash mark above it. O zamknięte z kreską. So you have that, and then you have the open U, but the sound is exactly the same, okay? U. So if you notice, the IPA always has the open O, U sound. It's just for spelling that they're different.
Grudy.
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 W dół.
W dół.
W dół.
So one of our students at Peabody, Christopher Hartung, singer, CJ said he wanted to learn something in Polish. So I said, great, I'll help you. So we were going through this, and he said, to me, I would want to say voodoo. When I see them separate, I would want to say voodoo. And so he said, anything you can do to make it look like it should be together, voodoo. So I had this idea of bringing the V in the IPA right next to the noun. So do is like the bottom, down, meaning, and the V is just a preposition, the W. So it like in. So that's why they're together like this in the IPA. Eileen Cornett, chair of our collaborative piano department at Peabody, who doesn't know Polish, she helped me so much with this IPA and helping look at it from a perspective of someone who doesn't know it, that would really be able to what's the best way to represent it. Yeah, please come in.
Oh, yeah.
Come on in. If you don't know Polish, how would it look visually? That's what CJ was saying. He said, I'm a really visual person, so anything you can do to make it look, hi Rachel, anything you can do to make it, oh, you have one, right? I gave you one earlier.
I just finished studying.
So thank you for coming. Makes it really helps. So we're learning the IPA for the song Szklana Góra.
Okay.
So we're kind of on the page that says 3, even though it's not page 3 in your handout, but it's the page 3 there. Okay, so we're listening to a native, Max Krzak, he's a student at Peabody, master's student. He's a violist, but he studied singing in Poland, and then he decided he was going to be a violist instead. But he has studied singing, and so I had him do the recording for me. So this is me doing the English, and he's doing the Polish.
Znów.
Znów. Znów.
Znów. Ł. Błysk. Błysk. Łzy. Łzy. Siły.
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 Słońca.
So I'm going to stop for a moment to just tell Rachel about this, what I think is the hardest sound in Polish to make, and that is the Y. So, and if you see the IPA is the short lowercase I with a slash through it. And as much as I didn't like that symbol when I first saw it, I said, I've come around and I've seen the light. Now I realize that it's there to help me remember that that sound is a mid-vowel, and that's why that slash is through it. So that is a very special sound in Polish. It's not like our it's not like our English word like in big. It's not that sound. It's b, b. So I was saying if you say like vod, vod, and then if you just allow the I to come out, vody, you'll get the right sound. And if you relax your jaw, vody. Okay? Yeah.
Słońca.
Słońca.
Spływa.
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 Zlodowaciałe.
Zlodowaciałe. Very good.
Zlodowaciałe.
Zlodowaciałe. So you get to have fun and trill your R's. Yay! And it's got to be more than a flip because otherwise it sounds American. It must sound American. It must sound Polish. All right, so enjoy flipping your R's. Trilling them.
Razem.
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 Skarb.
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 Skarb. Nice
Wiadro.
Wiadro. So let's talk about the ah for a moment. So if you think of the word large in Polish, in English, la, that's a good. La, that la, large. So you don't want to make it ah, it's more ah. Yes, more ah. Okay, skarb. Skarb. B's turn into unvoiced consonants at the end of words, unless you have a voiced consonant or a vowel that is the next letter, in which case you would leave it voiced. So voiced goes next to voiced. So if you had skarb-o, I would say the B as a voiced consonant. Skarb-o, because first of all it's easier, but it makes more sense in Polish to do it that way. If the next word started, I have it IPA here with P because of the word that follows it. Skarp, ta. Skarp ta. Okay, yes, sir.
But it's not like French where you elide it. It's just there's no elation, but yeah.
Yeah, not in the true sense like you would drop the E, like for je, j'aime, like for example. You wouldn't drop a letter. But that's a very good question because Polish has something called an odbitka, which then you get really detailed. So yes, you put them together, but in some cases you need to have a hint of separation. Yeah, so that part you would get into when you're actually singing the song, and that's where you really need a person. You know, you need a person to say, okay, it should be like this. Yeah, then it gets very tricky.
Wiadro.
Wiadro.
Zamarzając.
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 Policzkach.
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 Polish consonant clusters occurring at the beginning of select words in Szklana Góra. Think of each consonant cluster as one collective sound that gets you to the vowel when singing or speaking.
Right.
Błysk.
Whisk.
Błysk.
Whisk.
Gdy.
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 Mnie.
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 Prze.
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 Przede mną.
Przede mną.
Przede mną.
Przede mną.
Przerastający.
Przerastający. Good for you.
Przerastający.
Przerastający.
Szkla.
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 Szklana.
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 Szkli.
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 Szklista.
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 W dół.
W dół.
W dół.
W dół.
Wspi.
Wsi.
Wspi.
Wsi.
Wspinam.
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 Znów.
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 Znów. Okay. So, let's take a moment and let me hear your thoughts on this. So, I mean, you probably have to listen to this more than once, but this is almost every single word in Szklana Góra. The reason I chose the words I did was because I tried to anticipate what would be difficult for someone who doesn't know the language. And I ran it by a few of our students, Mofan Lai, at Peabody, CJ, a few other students, and just said, you know, just let me know your thoughts. And so I put this all together based on their comments. So what are your comments? What would be the next step for you? In my opinion, I think it would be some intoning. So maybe hear the song, you know, if you went back to the music now, I went ahead and put the IPA in here for you. I thought, well, the next thing that would be good would be to be able to hear an intoning of the song. So maybe I could do that together. I could intone a little bit and then you could try singing it back to me. We don't have to do it on the pitches. We can just pick sort of a random pitch and then try to look at the text in the rhythm of the music. So we could try that. So let's go back to Szklana Góra and let's do a little bit of this and see how that works. All right, so I'll go first and then you can sing it back. Wspinam się,
Wspinam się
pod górę dźwigając skarb. Pod górę dźwigając skarb. And you would re-articulate the S. Jąc skarb. Okay, we have to hear them both. No cheating and saying one. Is that okay so far? Yeah. Then we have przerastający. Przerastający. There's my right? My mid vowel and lots of nice flipped R. Przerastający. Can we try that? Przerastający moje siły, moje siły, wiadro wody, you're going through the consonants and you're going right to the vowels. It's exactly what you want to do. All right, let's go on. Oh, let's change the pitch. Odpowiedzialność. Odpowiedzialność. Wspomaga nogi. Wspomaga nogi. Potykające się. Potykające się. Ozlodowaciałe. Ozlodowaciałe. Grudy śniegu. Grudy śniegu. Good. Padam. Padam. Woda spływa. Woda spływa. Razem. Razem. Ze mną w dół. Ze mną w dół. Zamarzając. Zamarzając. Jak łzyna. Jak łzyna. So you want that łzy. It's almost like almost like uzi, right? Like łzy. Jak łzy. Jak łzy. Very good. Na policzkach. Na policzkach. Good. So the T with the sh, long sh, is ch together, right? It's the combo for ch. Okay, very good. Let's do the next part. Przede mną znów góra. Przede mną znów góra. Coraz bardziej szklista. Bardziej szklista. Błysk. Błysk słońca na moment. Słońca na moment. Powiększa. Powiększa mnie. Mnie cieniem. Cieniem. Good. Gdy znów idę. Gdy znów idę. Make sure your ooh. I found that's a very interesting phenomenon. I guess it must be an American thing. When we get to ooh vowels, I think because of pop music and the way we say words like but and na, whatever else has an in it, our oohs turn into uhs, right? So you want to have a nice pure ooh. Znów idę. So let's see, Jenny. Gdy znów idę. Gdy znów idę. Good. Mierzyć się. Mierzyć się. Z moją szklaną górą. Szklaną górą. Good, and just a little bit of nasal, right? Om at the end, just a very hint, just like you did. That's super, okay? So I think that I would love to know if you think that as insofar as an independent kind of teaching thing, is this enough for you? Would that be enough for you to feel confident to go to the piano and say, okay, I can learn this song? Is that enough? Is a place to
I think
start?
it's a good start.
Yeah, I mean,
it was fun to say I'd have to review it
Right,
a
of
couple
course.
times, you know.
Yeah, of course, you'd have to go through it, but you have
Yeah,
the recording, you
but-
could stop it,
Yeah,
pause it, and do
mhm.
all that. You think the intoning helps?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the intoning is really important. And then I think you could just go for it, you know? And then the next step would be to, of course, figure out, like you were asking, you know, do you do any elision or do you do any of that stuff? So yes, but basically you have to say all the letters, right? I mean, or all the cluster sounds. You have to make all those phonemes happen. And so after that, it's, I think it's not so bad. It really isn't. If you can just find the vowel.
Yeah.
Get to that vowel. So since we don't have much time left, what I'd really love to do is just play you a few songs so you can listen to them. This is part of a larger project I've been working on for a few years. I've got an English score translation. Sal is actually writing the English version of this song, so it can be sung in English as well. But Karl Szymanowski, great post-romantic Polish composer, composed many wonderful songs, over 100 of them. And these few that I included here are from a song cycle, his Opus 49 song cycle, Rymy dziecięce, children's rhymes that are not for children at all, obviously, but they are super songs, and I picked a few thinking, well, either they would be good for students or someone who was interested in learning some new repertoire that's short and accessible. So this first one, if you can find Proszę number 4, it's in Polish. It's about a pig, pig that goes for a stroll, and he's all dressed up in a disguise, and so he fools everybody but the dog, and the dog barks at him. You'll hear the barking, it's really fun. And yeah, so this might, oh, where's my pig? Okay, here it is. And so part of my teaching package for this will be the same. I didn't include it here because I don't have it ready yet, but I do have piano accompaniments ready for this teaching package. And I thought I would do what I did for Szklana Góra, do a little warm-up page, and then do the, you know, so you can practice hearing a native say them, and then do some intoning. That's my plan, unless you guys have a better idea. Okay, so here it is in Polish. It's Karl Szymanowski's Proszę. Yeah, so you've got my score in English. As soon as I get copyright clearance, Szymanowski is copyright clear in Poland, but not in America. Oh my goodness, because copyright laws are different in country by country. So 3 more years, so I'm trying to get permission. Anyway, but there's my score in English, and enjoy. It's a great song. Oh, by the way, the pianist here is Tomasz Robak, also Polish. He's a doctoral student, finishing up his doctorate in piano at Peabody. So he's my collaborator for this project. Okay, so here's one about a Christmas star, Gwiazdka number 5. Oh, this thing keeps popping up. All right, Christmas star. Oh, maybe you'd like to hear it in English. I don't know.
We probably should start wrapping
Okay.
it up for the next person.
All right,
Good.
so there they are. How about this? If you're interested in hearing any of these songs, I have all these audio files that I would be happy to make available to you.
That'd be great.
So why don't you've got my email there? Shoot me an email if you're interested in doing that. It's on the front there, laura@laurakafkaprice.com, and I will work on putting them up on a website. So I would just ask if there are any parting words for me. Is there anything that you would like to offer as advice that I could incorporate in this teaching package? Anything like that? Do you think it works? Would it work for you if you had that in your hand? Yay.
It's great having the IPA.
Huh?
It's great having the IPA.
Thank you. Yeah, IPA, gotta do the IPA. So, but again, I thank you so much for coming. It really means a lot.
Well,
And
thank you.
thank you for
Let's-
your interest.